All right, back for another week on the DSP, and joining me today, Xavier Mayne from Cairns. My brother's got this track out, Vita Local. We've been playing it on the show on the DSP. How you doing out there in Cairns, bro?
Yeah, we're good, man. We're good. How we going? How you going?
I'm busy, but it's great because there's so much amazing Australian music coming out at the moment. And I just, every time I sit with one artist, they're like, yo, you got to be up on this other artist. And I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah, for sure,
So it's
man. That's
dope.
so good. I feel like yeah, it's something that someone told me, Benji, um artists are like the best A&Rs in the industry.
It's facts, though. It's facts because as someone that is, has a platform to play music, hearing it from other artists that have that respect and also that inside, intuition with what's working in the culture right now, it just gives it that extra leg. So when I go and listen to someone, I'm like, oh, okay. And you know what I mean? Like, it's great to see other artists bring along other artists. Like, that's what it's all
For
about.
sure. For sure.
Do you feel like the Australian music scene at the moment, like in your eyes, where's it at in the whole scheme of, what you've seen over the years?
I know, like obviously last year was a super weird spot, but I feel like the Australian industry is very close knit. Like everyone kind of knows each other, and yeah, we all kind of support each other, and yeah, want to see each other grow. So it's a good positive spot, I think, for sure.
Let's talk about the last year, because the last year has been crazy, especially for artists and musicians, because the lockdown, the shutdown from touring and really being able to move around and get in the space with other artists and creatives has been tough. How do you feel like you came out the back end of it?
Yeah, like 2020 was really tough for me, man. But I I felt at a point I just felt I had to like take a step back because I didn't release anything through 2020, and I had a lot of plans coming into 2020. So it was like kind of felt like a truck full of broken dreams, and yeah, and everything just went to a halt. And then I was over in the States at the time when everything went down, and I got back like um, the after mid last year, and yeah, like I just had to take a step back, and yeah, I had a bunch of music ready to go, but yeah, I just took a step back, and now I'm back in the scene.
What was that feeling like being in the States? I got out just before COVID hit. I moved back. I've been out there for 10 years.
Yeah,
But for you, I guess you were right in the amongst of kind of where your dreams are at, and it was all starting to move, and then that hit. What was the feeling like for you, and what was going on?
it was a complete shock at first, hey, and then I think I had a sense of almost like grief, and then I was just like, damn, like this sucks. Like all the plans just went to shit. And then, but yeah, in the same time, everyone was in the same boat. That was kind of weirdly comforting in a way. But
Yeah.
yeah, but like for me, I felt like a lot of people even thrived through that time. But for me, I kind of just took a step back and yeah, just did some other things for a bit.
Let's take a step back because, if you go back and you look at the music that you've put out, there's not a lot of work there to really kind of delve into.
Yeah.
But, I know that, you were in a group prior to, and then I feel like you must have been into music mentally because you're so far ahead in where you are right now. Where did music kind of, I guess, start for you? Like what got you into this crazy world?
Man, like I've been doing music for a very long time. I played in like multiple bands through high school, and then I was in a band like prior to this project, my solo project starting, and yeah, I it was a wild ride. Like I started from like playing like pop punk music and bands, and then that it kind of evolved into like indie rock, and then like indie folk music, and then I didn't start making hip hop music until like after high school. I started producing probably in year 12, and that's when like the electronic kind of production kind of came into play, and like hip hop has always been like a huge part of my life. Like my dad, like I've always been surrounded by hip hop. Like my dad always just blasted, you know, 90s hip hop tunes all the time. So
Yeah.
that was always like a big influence for me. And it was also the music that I listened to most of the time. So it was just a natural progression to hip hop.
Was it a tough transition from, going from, more of the bands to then going through to the electronic production and really being almost like a one-man show? You can produce this whole aesthetic and aesthetic thing without a lot of other people.
Yeah, well, like in saying that, I do a lot of the songs that have come out. I've worked a lot with my friend Mitchell from Chase Atlantic,
Yeah.
and that's kind of like that's pretty much how this project started. It was like just me and him. Like after high school, we just hang out and just make music for fun, and yeah, like that's kind of the where it started in regards to this project coming to be. That my first like song that I put out, Sleep In, was the track that Mitchell and I made together, like completely for fun. And I wasn't even, I didn't think about putting it out at all until I showed a few friends. They're like, dude, you have to put the song out. And yeah, that's where it all started.
That's crazy. I knew that you had a connection with Mitch from Chase Atlantic. I guess you've had a front row seat to really watch them blow up and see what they're doing. How's that been to see, the homies, the people that you grew up with and work with in the studio so closely, get that recognition?
It's like it's the most inspiring thing because to see firsthand your own really good friend like make it to where they are now. It's super inspiring. And yeah, like I've known Mitchell since I met him for the first time when I was like in year 7. And we didn't become close friends until maybe our senior year of high school. But he literally he lived like around the corner from my parents' house. And yeah, and then we went to the same high school. We weren't close until maybe year 12. We just started hanging out more in a friend group that and yeah, funny story actually. The band, like the first high school band that I joined, he was like the lead singer in it. And I was a friend with
Wow.
the guitarist in that band, and he was like, "Oh, dude, like, you should come audition. Like, we need a new guitarist." And then I went to go audition for the band. We played they got me to like learn all these Blink-182 and Green Day songs, and we played a bunch of them. And they were like, "Dude, can you sing?" I'm like, "Yeah." And then I sung all the songs, and like I had no idea what was going on at the time. And then like literally left. We had a lunch break, and after lunch they were like, "Yeah, you're the new singer."
No way.
Yeah. So like they completely replaced Mitchell with me in that band. So
do you hang that over his head all the time?
nah.
Like, mate, you remember that time when I kicked you out of your lead singer role?
I'm just like, man, you should really hate me, but he doesn't. Like, yeah, I love that guy. And yeah, we were actually in rivaling bands. We'd all like rock up to the band rooms. Like that was like one really good band room with like really good equipment, and like it was like first in best like dressed, And like, no, man, this is my band room, man. And like we used to fight over it and stuff. But yeah,
I was gonna say, were there any scraps out behind the music room between the two bands?
Nah, luckily not. But we used to like let out our steam at like the Battle of the Bands and see who wins. That's kind of like how we we battled it out. But yeah, it was a lot of tension between the two bands until year 11, and then all of that petty shit just kind of dwindled away.
You grew out of it a little bit, but a little bit of competition is always good. And I guess, you've gotten to go on tour with Chase Atlantic as well and see that and get to perform to some crazy crowds and, have some of your best friends around. What's that experience?
It's the best.
You've been like?
It's the best thing. Like, it's the best because I've always been so used to being in a band and then like touring with a band and having like my best mates with me. I did like a couple tours before. I toured with Chase Atlantic, and I was like by myself all the time, like on the flight by myself, and I was like in a dressing room by myself. Like it was so weird, you know what I mean? Like hopping on stage by myself. But like being with like the Chase boys, like they're like family to me, and just having like a bunch of mates to share the experience with is it just makes things so much better.
Let's talk a little bit about, what that year off was for you and and the reason behind it. Cause you look at your music and, the last track you released was in 2019, and then we get Vida Loca in 2021. What was kind of going on in that space between that?
Yeah, like I said, I just decided to take a step back in 2020, and I just picked up a bunch of like random hobbies between that time.
Like what were you doing? Playing lawn bowls, crocheting? What are we talking here?
Oh man, like there is a lawn bowl place down the road from mine, but I didn't end up joining the team.
Mate, they have the cheapest beers. I will tell you that.
Exactly.
That's for sure.
I got into I started wakeboarding. That's like we have a wake park here, like a cable ski wake park. So I got a membership there.
Bro, I used to be a wakeboard instructor, my guy. I grew up wakeboarding my whole life. Yeah, bro. That was like my number one passion. I thought I was going to be a professional at.
Yeah, dude. So I picked that up. I took up like fire twirling as well.
Yes. Yeah. Are you going to bring that into your live performance?
Dude, I don't know how we go with insurance, but I've got I filmed a music video for an upcoming track that's coming out this year that has a bit of fire twirling in it. So
I feel like Travis Scott and Kanye and stuff all have fire coming up in their shows, and I've seen them nearly get burned and missed out. So what's a little bit of fire? You're a professional at it now. It's a hobby.
Exactly.
So have you got any performances in the pipeline already? Are you working on stuff like that, or are you just kind of head down and getting the music situation going right now?
Yeah, well, I think this year is a year of just rebuilding everything again. And at the moment, I'm just kind of focused more so on the releases. And then we'll see how we go with live stuff, maybe towards the end of the year. But the live stuff usually comes into play once you have some good releases out. And then people start coming up to you and saying, hey, do you want to play this festival? I'm going to do this tour, all that kind of stuff. So, and radio play helps a lot as well.
Anyone that says that getting played on the radio is selling out doesn't understand the music industry.
Yeah, exactly, man. Because
or they don't want to make any money.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like as a creative, more so than just an artist, I look at the aspects of your aesthetic and the style, and I think fashion, I feel like must play a bit into who you are, because I feel like you place a lot of importance when you look at that throughout your social media presence. Aesthetically, are you the kind of brains behind everything that you do?
Yeah, pretty much, man. In the same time, I feel like, anyone who's doing well, who says they do it all themselves, is lying to an extent. But I'm definitely...
You throwing shade at Russ?
Yeah, I guess. Fuck that guy.
I'm with it.
But I do a lot of the work on my own, but in the same time, I also work a lot with like Mitchell and Clinton, also from Chase Atlantic, especially Mitchell. Like Mitchell's been like my sounding board and kind of like my mentor within the music industry and the music itself. And even with Clinton, I go back and forth with him with like visual ideas, and he pretty much I mix all my songs with Clinton as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's a collaboration of like you know, between me and them, and yeah, but at the end of the day, it's like kind of just me driving the ship, really.
Let's talk a little bit about this track, Vida Loca, drops in March, mid-March. You know, it's the first song that you put it out in a year. What was it about this song that I guess stood out enough to you that it was the one?
The process of making that song, I just wanted to make something fun and lighthearted, and yeah, it was very improvised, the whole process of making that song. Like it's definitely a reflection of my introduction to Los Angeles for sure. But yeah, like it was actually a song that I wasn't thinking of putting out. Like it was a song that I just made for fun. And once yeah, and I always just show my friends like the tracks that I make, and whatever I feel like has the most positive feedback is kind of what I feel works. So I was like, I just had second thoughts about putting it out, and I was like, yeah, maybe I'll put this one out first, because it's actually a lot different to the songs that are going to come out this year. So I just wanted to put that out first and be like, hey, I'm back. And then yeah.
In what way do you feel that Vida Loca is different to, you know, what is to come in this year?
Yeah, well, for starters, like shout out to Arn and Yugi Boy, by the way. They made the original beat for Vida Loca. So for starters, it's like, you know, it was like their beat to start with. And yeah, it was, I don't know, it's a lot different it's hard to describe, but it's a lot different to what's coming out next.
You gotta keep some secrets. Yeah. You can't just throw it out there and be like, this is what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah.
You mentioned that, you know, moving to LA and being in LA really had an impact on you. You know, what did that, you know, eye-opening experience and being like full on in the industry? You know, if no one's been to LA, the music industry is on steroids there. The studios, the people, how people move. What was that impact on you?
Being a kid from a rural town and just getting thrown into LA is like the most craziest thing you can do. I was lucky to have, like, you know, the Chase Boys already over there, and, you know, they had friends and people to introduce me to. So yeah, but Los Angeles is crazy, man. Like I don't know what it is like, or what's it like now, but like pre-COVID, it was wild.
Yeah,
everything just moved so quickly. People talk so fast. And like coming from like Cairns, like it's so laid back here, and it's so chill. There's no traffic. And just like
fucking LA traffic, bro.
Yeah, it's like it's an actual thing. Like, but it's wild. Like in the same time, like things progress really quickly. You know, your network spreads, like you meet people very quickly. So yeah, there's really no excuse for like laziness or anything when you're there. And because you're in that environment, like everyone is such a high achiever, you kind of just like, you push through, and you kind of like, you know, that energy kind of rubs off on you as well. And yeah, and like I said, like being a kid from a rural town in Australia, getting thrown into there, like everything just feels like a movie.
Well, we're 4 months into the year now. We've got one track from you. What's the plan, I guess, moving forward for this year? How much music are we going to get from Xavier Mayne?
Yeah, I'm putting out like the most music I've ever put out. So
that's what I like to hear.
There's going to be a lot of music coming out, and then yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Love it. Well, bro, you've always got a home here on the DSP. We're going to keep going crazy with this Vida Loca track. And I'm excited to see what, you know, this next sound and change up is like for you, bro.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.